good then?
Yeah.
What's the cocktail? Handsome.
Oh, stop. Stop it.
Stop it. I feel like I'm in the presence of royalty.
What do you mean royalty?
Well, you're a certain reigning champion.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Drag Idol 2019.
Weird.
What
So
was
weird.
that?
So it's like a national competition that different venues...
Have you heard about it? 'Cause I know your predecessor, Felix.
Yeah.
So I was there last year when
Oh, right.
she
Yeah,
won.
where she won, yeah.
And she was halfway to her.
She was, yeah, so basically the way it works is that there's, like 8, or this year there were 18 different venues from around the UK. And basically they end up, they have their own venue heats and venue finals and stuff. And so then all 18 venues end up with a representative. And so I was halfway to Heaven's representative. And
But how did it come about? Did they approach you? Did you find it?
No, so basically, because I'm severely unemployed at the moment, I have to kind of, hustle and make that dollar or the pound over here. And
stay creative.
Stay creative.
Yeah.
And nothing against people working at Harrods spraying perfume or any of that, but it was sort of my mission to kind of stay out of that kind of agency world and try and be, it's everyone's dream just to stay creative and be making money from stuff that they love. And sort of post Kinky Boots, I kind of figured out that I was good as impersonating a woman, and so that could kind of make me a bit of money.
Good bone structure.
I tried. Thank you. I grew up myself. And so I was I asked a few drag queens sort of how they got their starts and their names out there, and they all kind of said do Drag Idol just because it's everyone who books drag queens sort of sees Drag Idol. And so I was just doing it just for exposure. I was not expecting to get very far, let alone win the damn thing. And I won it.
Because I saw you back in January, Kinky Cabaret, singing Let It Go.
Yeah.
Which you
did.
Then
which I then
sang in the final.
Yeah.
Back then, were you kind of thinking, "Oh, I might do this"?
I mean, I'd started investing in my own wigs and things, and it was sort of always a real interest to kind of see what it was like in the real world, because it's so hard going from a show as established as Kinky Boots, where you've got an incredible wig team of 10 people, as well as then a wardrobe team of 10 people, and they're doing maintenance every day, and they're washing your wigs and washing your wig lace and sewing up holes in your stockings, and they'd basically, I literally would go and do my face, and then they'd throw things at me and I'd put them on. But so doing it freelance by yourself is a whole different beast, and yes, I kind of got little tips and tricks from people in those amazing wig and wardrobe teams, but it's a lot more work than I thought it would be.
Really?
A lot more work.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, because it is so much hard work, when it does sort of come off, it's a lot more rewarding as well. And I mean, I've got an incredible drag mother called Galore, who's quite a well-known pop fiction horror cult classic kind of drag queen, and she hosts a lot and does a lot of the Comic-Con kind of stuff. And she was one of our wig mistresses on Kinky Boots.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, so that's how we met, and she's an absolute sweetheart, and so she has really helped me in the last couple of months. She'll teach me the tricks of the trade, and yeah.
And where did your name come from? Did someone suggest that, or did you come up with it yourself? It's very clever one.
Well, so it sort of came from, because I did Kinky Boots in Australia, and then I did Kinky Boots over here, and my Kinky Boots name I'm not going to mention because it's embarrassing and nobody ever needs to hear it ever again. But my I created a new name over here, and because I was the only international in the West End cast. I mean, there were people from Scotland, but it may as well be international. But no, so I was the only international in the cast, and I was the only Australian, obviously. And so I wanted something Australian, and at that point. I kind of knew that I would potentially want to maybe keep this drag name because we have such a loyal fan base at Kinky Boots, especially in the West End. I sort of wanted to pick a name and establish that, so then I could take that on or steal it from Kinky Boots and keep flogging the horse until I'm not sure where that analogy was going. Cut that out. But. Yeah, so Karla Baehr is my drag name, and it's like koala bear, but Karla.
I get it.
I mean, sometimes it needs to be. Sometimes it needs to be explained.
Like caught the act. You don't need to explain it. We get it.
Well, that's good. Thank you. I'm glad that the language barrier isn't.
That's what I mean. It's a very clever name.
Thank you.
Yeah,
because I get some drunk people come up to me and they're saying, Karla Baehr, that's a shit name, and I'm like, well. And I explain it, and they're like, oh, actually, that's quite a good name. And I'm like, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thought long and hard. But no, I was christened Karla Baehr in Kinky Boots for the West End. Would have been about July last year, and then the rest is history.
So let's talk about Kinky Boots. You started it over in Australia.
In Australia, yeah.
Was that part of the original cast over there?
Yeah, so there's only ever been one cast.
Right.
We kind of just did. Australian contracts work differently to sort of UK West End contracts. Basically, a lot of the time you're employed for 14 months, and within that 14 months, the producers can sort of send you to any city within Australia they want to. Usually within 14 months, you'll definitely do Melbourne and Sydney, and then you'll usually do Brisbane as well. And they were the 3 cities that we did. And so you sort of sit in a theatre for about 4 or 5 months. So it's not like a UK tour where you're in a different theatre every couple of weeks. So I was in the original and only Kinky Boots cast over there in Australia, and one of the UK's best and brightest stars, Callum Francis, was our Lola. He was a swing and Lola cover over here in the original West End cast, and then he was shipped off over to Australia.
And then shipped abroad?
And then, shipped back here first to open the UK tour, and then shipped abroad. But Callum's amazing. So we really had a lovely, strong principal cast to sort of carry the show, which was nice. And the ensemble were alright as well. So I was a swing in Australia, and then when I came over here, I was just a plain old angel.
Did you have the Union Jack dress over there?
Over there we did, yes.
But it wasn't yours.
It wasn't mine. I was the purple ticket taker.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. Is that Jason Winters?
Yeah. Yes, he did. Yeah.
I know all the characters.
You do. It's a bit scary.
I'm a fangirl. So, what made you come over to England?
I've sort of always wanted to live over here.
But you didn't come initially to be in Kinky Boots?
No. That was purely a very, very lucky coincidence. Yeah. Really lovely timing.
So you decided to move over here?
Yeah, so I came over here when I was 11, and I grew up with Julie Andrews, basically. She was my childhood, and so I kind of moved over here for Julie Andrews and Prince Harry, to be honest.
And was it what you expected when you arrived?
I'd also been over here. They're not dead yet. They're still here. I have some really, really close best friends that live over here as well. that I studied with in Australia. Declan Egan, actually, you interviewed him last week, I think. And so I had some really close friends over here, and so I'd come over here to visit them a couple of times, and I just kind of, every time I was over here, I'd never wanted to go home.
Yeah.
And so I sort of bit the bullet and finally made the move over here, and luckily Kinky Boots was auditioning, and because it was the same international creatives with Jerry Mitchell and stuff, with the final say on the casting and things like that, I'd kind of put in some groundwork with him because he worked with us in Australia, and so I was very lucky that I still had to audition, I still had to be approved by all the powers that be, but lucky that there was a role that was right for me that was opening up in the West End, and I hopped straight in.
And you saw it to the end?
Yeah.
Sadly. Was it a shame? Would you like to do it a little bit longer?
I loved the show. I think over here it's a different beast, especially when a UK tour opens up.
Yeah. Just
because, and it completely makes sense, people stop travelling into London to see a West End show when they can see it much closer to home. So it sort of made sense that the show was closing on the West End, and I think it's always best for a show to close when it's still having a really great run. We were still playing to full houses right up until the end, and it was still a really lovely environment to work in, and everyone still really wanted to be there, and it was, I think, although it was obviously really sad, I think there's a huge hole now in the West End where Kinky Boots was. It was a really lovely time to finish up. Yeah.
And you were also in Priscilla, weren't you?
I did Priscilla on the cruise ship, on the Norwegian Epic, and actually that was one of my favourite shows I've done. I played the role of Tick, who is the Hugo Weaving character with the sun. I'm not sure how I could have a son just yet, but I mean technically, because I did Priscilla when I was 26.
So you've always enjoyed putting a frock on then?
Well, actually, funnily enough, Kinky Boots, I'd booked Kinky Boots in Australia. Australia cast like 12 months in advance. Crazy cast times. And so I'd booked Kinky Boots Australia in the February, but I wasn't starting until October, I don't think. So I had a sort of 8-9 month gap to fill, and then this cruise ship contract came up, and it was only for 5 months, and it literally finished the week before Kinky Boots was starting rehearsals. And Priscilla was always a show I wanted to do, and I kind of, fancied a bit of a European summer holiday and getting paid for it, and so I absolutely jumped at that because it was the perfect time filler. I was on there from March till September of that year, and it was great. The show is so beautiful, and I think as well, being an Australian show, created in Australia, but also it comes from Sydney. Like that's where the movie and the show starts, and so it was coming from my home as well, so it was lovely to be involved.
Do you miss Australia? You say how much you love London, but
I miss the people.
Home?
Obviously, I miss my family, my parents, and my sister and my sister-in-law. And actually, I've got a massive extended family. So I really obviously miss all of them, and I miss a lot of friends over there as well. But I went home a couple months ago, and it was the first time I'd been home in sort of 16 months, and I was thinking, I'm probably going to go home and realise how much I miss it. And I went home, and yes, it was lovely to see everyone, and it was nice to be home, but at the same time, I then missed London almost immediately. Yeah. So I think, without sounding like a wanker, I'm in the right place for me at the moment, which and going back to Australia, that just kind of solidified that, which was nice. Yeah.
So talking about your cabaret, which is called Almost home.
Almost Home, the untold
I
stories
thought
of Judy Garland.
Yeah, because originally I thought it was going to be like Declan. So Declan's is doing a cabaret all about finding a home
Yeah.
in different places. Whereas yours isn't.
No.
This is based on
No.
an autobiography.
Yeah, so I wrote this show in Perth, actually, in Australia. I was there with Wicked, and I was one of the offstage swings, so I had a lot of time off stage. And so I had a lot of time just to sort of either watch Netflix or write a show. And
So you must have, did you read the book?
yeah,
What was the name of the book?
It's called Weep No More, My Lady. And it's an autobiography written by Mickey Deans, who was Judy Garland's fifth and final husband.
Yeah.
He was the one who unfortunately found her overdosed in the bathroom. And basically he goes through and tells all these stories that Judy had told him about her life. And it really also, almost scarily so, syncs up chronologically with all of her most famous songs as well. So basically, yeah, I play Mickey Deans in this show, and we sort of set it up as if he's being interviewed to write the book, and so he's kind of telling these stories, and then we go into different male arrangements of Judy Garland's most famous songs. And just some of the stories that Judy had told him is stuff that people never would have known or heard about. And because I wrote it in Australia at a time where there were a lot of cabaret artists doing a lot of cabaret shows about someone else. And they were playing Jimi Hendrix, they were playing Barbra Streisand, they were playing Bette Midler. They were actually playing the roles, and they were all fabulous. But it sort of started to become a little bit oversaturated, and so I had to find a different point of view. And so I figured to tell it through Mickey's eyes, it was a nice juxtaposition. That's not the right word. It was just yeah.
And what's your favourite song from the show?
I love the trolley song.
Yeah.
I also, there's a song that we end with that I love as well, but that's a bit of a secret mashup that I don't want to give away too.
Is it just
soon.
you, or have you got guests?
Just me, and an accompanist as well. Yeah, so it's...
And has it evolved to... So you originally did it in 2016?
Yeah, so I actually... Even though I wrote it just to kind of fill in time, my main reason for writing it was for the 2016 Sydney Mardi Gras Festival. Yeah. And so that's why I wrote it and submitted it for the Mardi Gras Festival and performed it then in March of 2016. And that was just before I jumped on the cruise ship for Priscilla. And I've always really wanted to sort of come back and do it again, but I've luckily been employed and not had the time. And now I'm really unemployed. I do have the time and the resources to be able to do it, and I'm lucky I've got an incredible production team in Lambert Jackson, who are really great producers, are really exciting new up and coming producers that are doing some incredible stuff, and they kind of approached me and said, let's do some stuff together.
Going on at the Other Palace and Cadogan Hall.
Yeah, and they've just announced a concert version of Dr. Zhivago with Ramin Karamalou and some really incredible people, which is massive.
Hello.
A little bit, but I was really excited to have been approached by them. I mean, one of them is a best friend of mine, so it kind of also made sense. But
No, never
Yeah.
them, but...
No. Showbiz, not show friends, you know. Yeah.
And how has it been coming back to the show? Has it been exciting to pick it up
Really
again?
exciting and surprisingly, because it has been 2
Have you
years,
fallen in love
more
with it
than
again?
2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Judy's sort of now, on repeat
Yeah.
on my Spotify and I mean, did not mean it at all, but it's really timely with the new Judy movie coming out with Renee Zellweger. I'm hoping they don't have any stories that contradict my stories, but yeah, no, it's been lovely just to rediscover it all.
Yeah. Do you think you'll do anything else with it?
Yeah, I really hope so. And this is sort of a test because obviously only Australian audiences have seen it. This is the first time an international audience has seen it. So it's the UK premiere, which is really exciting. And I would really love to. I would really love for it to have legs because I'm really proud of it, and I do think it is quite a nice show. Not really selling myself. It's really great. Definitely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Incredible. Fantastic. Did it win awards or something?
It was. There weren't
It was
awards.
sold out though, didn't it?
Yeah, and it was really some really lovely reviews from Broadway World and things like that, and so we're just kind of testing the waters with an international audience. But I kind of know, again, without sounding too cocky, I know that London audiences are going to love it because it's Judy
They love
Garland.
Judy,
It's
exactly.
Judy Garland, and a lot of people sort of expect, because now I'm only ever employed as a woman, basically. A lot of people are sort of expecting when I say that I'm doing a Judy Garland show, they expect that I do Judy Garland in drag or that I impersonate her, and she's sacred to me, and she's one of those icons that I don't think should be touched unless you can do it perfectly. And so I'm way too tall to play Judy Garland, but it was really important to me not to ever impersonate her or anything like that. It paints her in the most beautiful light because she was a really beautiful. Yes, she was absolutely troubled, but she was a really beautiful soul. And I think the stories that I tell matched with the different arrangements, the new arrangements of songs that again people wouldn't have heard these songs like this before. I think it's really, really lovely tribute to Judy. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what else do you hope for in the future? Do you want to play more boys?
Yeah, I mean, look, I moved to London
Have you
to
got dream roles?
anything that pays. No, I mean, I would love to be Elder Price in Book of Mormon. I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to eventually, in 10 years' time, because I'm not that old yet. I'd love to play Valjean in Les Mis or
Nice.
Phantom in all the typical tenor roles, male roles. I would love to.
What about Wicked? When you were Swing, was there any parts that you were like, ooh?
The one role I didn't cover that I wish I was able to was Fiero, and I would love to play Fiero.
Get those choppers on.
Yeah. I'm at the point in my career now where I'm still really happy to do anything.
Within reason.
Within reason. Unless you pay me enough money. Whatever you want. No, but then I'm also it's a weird juxtaposition, because then I'm also finding real love for the drag scene, and I would love to be on something like RuPaul's Drag Race. And I mean, if me being a famous drag queen means that I can then go on and play lead roles on the West End, then I'm very happy.
I was about to ask that. Are you looking forward to the British version?
I'm really interested to
see
see what it's like. Is the English drag queen scene is so different to the American drag queen scene. But then at the same time, it's becoming more and more influenced, especially with the young generation of queens that are coming into it that sort of maybe haven't been able to experience the real London scene yet, and they can only watch what's online, which is mainly American RuPaul's drag queen stuff. Drag race stuff, rather. I'm really interested to see how it translates, and because, it's just so different. And I think the show itself, the structure of the show, is so American reality TV, which absolutely is brilliant to watch. I'm addicted. I'm one of those people that has a timer set for, and I go off social media altogether for 24 hours before and after it. But I think it's going to be really interesting. But I'm really excited to see what it's like.
What's the drag scene like in Australia then? Does it sit somewhere in between?
Yeah, I mean, so like live singing drag queens are enormous over here. Live singing drag queens, and then quite conceptual like comedy queens that do really amazing lip syncs. That's like the London scene is so varied and so diverse. Australian drag queens, Sydney and Melbourne have a huge drag scene. So does Brisbane, really. And Perth has quite a lovely drag scene as well. It's very much production shows though. Like you'll go to a bar on a Friday night and there'll be 2 15-minute production shows with 3 drag queens, and they're like full costume, full set, full everything. So rather than a solo queen singing live at somewhere like Halfway to Heaven or Admiral Duncan, it's very much more of a production show set, but it's just on for 15 minutes and then that's sort of the show for the night. But it's a really healthy scene. But again, it was nothing that I really was able to break into because I was always in a show. So it's nice to finally sort of trial it out over here. Yeah?
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
So remind us, when is Almost Home?
It's the 2nd of August at 9:15 p.m. Yeah.
Crazy Cops.
At Crazy Cops.
There we are.
What should we want?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You do that so well.
Rude. I'm wearing white today for a reason.
Accentuates your turn.
I'm a virgin. Rude.
That's not what Declan told me.
Oh, don't listen to Declan Egan at all, but come and see his show as well, it's great.
You should pair up with the boys from Oz.
Yeah, that's definitely a cabaret.
Yeah, I'd come see that.
I'm going to trademark that now so you can't.
Boys from Oz. I think Hugh Jackman.
No, that's the boy from Oz.
Yeah.
But
you'd be Boys with a Z.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been on the cover of Boys magazine.
I have. Yeah.
Cover boy.
Cover. Oh, that was cover girl, really.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I have. Yeah. Exciting.
There you go. See.
Maybe some exciting stuff for next week's issue as well.
Ooh,
just a bit of a scoop. Bit of a scoop.
Grab your copy now.
Well, you grab it next week because I'm not.
Yeah, but this will go out next week.
Oh, then grab it now.
It's free.
Oh, this isn't live. Pre-record.
Well, thank you very much, mister.
Thank you
it's been
for
a pleasure.
having me. Thank you very much.
You need to go back to the gym. You're looking a bit.
How dare you? I'm a lady now. I'm a lady. I can't.
No, I'm joking. You look incredible.
Oh, thank you. Cameron Michaels ate
for
your hair.
days.
I wish.
Don't have to paint that cleavage on, do you?
No. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Come and see it, please.